Gaming and BS, episode 317, being recorded Monday, November 2nd, 2020. I'm one of your hosts, Sean.
I'm Brett. So how the hell are you, Sean? Doing fine?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I had the day off today, so I'm fine.
Oh, Jesus, man.
I know.
What'd you do all day?
I got Friday off, too.
What the hell?
I know,
oh,
it's
you've got
crazy.
vacation time to burn before the end of the year.
I
That's what I
do.
see. Smart man.
But anyways, yeah, everything's fine. I played in Hobbs's Low Fantasy Gaming Sunday.
Did you die?
I did not die. My other two cohorts did, though.
Oh, poor buggers.
Yeah, we had a plan. We were going to, there were some folks we ambush. We found the person we were looking for, although they were dead. And then they took some prisoners, prisoners were taken off. And so let's go rescue the prisoners. And we tracked them down. And the evil Scorn, they know what it was like to be a Scorn that day, I tell you.
Okay, all right.
And I had a plan, and the plan started. And the plan was like for me, because what happens with
So is the fact that the plan did not survive first contact with the enemy, is that what occurred?
It would have if those guys would have ran. So the plan was for me to go way off into one corner of the map and just start plucking guys off, right?
Okay.
Guess what happens? Just guess, Brett. Go ahead, guess.
So it didn't happen.
So my bow snapped.
Oh, you broke your bow.
I broke my bow. So the whole plan for me is to start picking people off at like 200 feet, right?
Which you can't do because you no longer have a ranged weapon in your hand.
Right. So I go, uh-oh. It's like in the movies. Shit. Okay. So I'd start jumping up and down, trying to get their attention.
Nice.
Hey, over here.
The plan is broken.
And so they started coming towards me. Well, then those other guys were like going to go and get the prisoners. Well, they got the attention of some of the Scorn themselves, and they freed the prisoners, and then they stayed and fought, and then they died.
Oh, that sucks.
So Hobbs is having to try to figure out how to get somebody to last more than one session.
And this is not even like Hobbs, like, I'll murder all you bastards.
Yeah, no.
You're just bad luck. Bad luck death.
Yeah.
Oh, my. Did you get Curse of Strahd in again or no?
I did not. That's scheduled for the 14th of November. This session 3. And I have to do a little bit of prep, but it'll be fine.
Got to do some more Undermountain when my buddy Alpha's 5e descent into Undermountain games. That was fun. And then I ran Middle-earth for the kids. What was that? Last night, actually. We just did that last night. They found a sneaky way in to the bad guy's lair, found the treasure room, dug through, found a bunch of cool stuff. They found 2 cursed shields.
Oh,
and,
how apropos.
It was wonderful. They're shields that what happens is like the first edged weapon attack. This is straight out of the adventure. I'm running a pre-published adventure, by the way. One of my favorite Middle-earth ones. So it's like the blade comes and hits them, the orc hits the shield. And I describe it as like the shield kind of leaps out and takes that first hit for you. You're like, oh, wow. Just glances off. That's awesome. So then I say, oh, by the way, roll percentiles. Oh, what do you mean? Ilana rolls. I say, you feel this horrible, like, this like growling, snarling feeling. You just feel really ferocious. She's like, huh, I'm an elf. That's odd. Well, their dwarven NPC is with him. I say, let's roll for him because he's got the other shield. Well, he transforms into a wolf because that's what happens. So he turns into a ravenous wolf, attacks the orcs, and lays waste to them. Like, oh! They didn't figure out exactly what it was until I described once more. AJ was paying very close attention of the shield kind of leaping in front of the blade. AJ's like, it's a shield! It's a shield! Throw them down! Get rid of the shields! Get rid of the shields! So they're like throwing shields around. It was a blast. It was fun. They figured it out. That was cool. But they're playing really smart. They were using magic to bypass some tricky stuff, so they're playing pretty well. Doing well. They're surviving. Where initially, like, Ilana's character lost an eye, and other people, AJ almost died. But he said, are you wearing a helmet? Why? I said, well, according to this critical chart, blow to side of head. If you don't have a helmet, you're dead. Otherwise, just knocked out for 6 hours. I'm only knocked out. He's like, you gave me a helmet last night. I wrote it down right here. It says helmet. So they're having fun. It was a good time. And my second session of my Return to Greyhawk first edition AD&D game is tomorrow. So that'll be fun. Should have Lenny should be back in for this one. So I don't know what character he's bringing in yet, but I got 2 thieves. I got a human thief, a gnome thief, and a human cleric. So pretty interesting so far. We'll see what happens. Let's see announcements. There's this Gamehole Con thing going on, virtual Gamehole Con. That's like soon, nowish. Right,
As
quick.
this drops, it's probably actually happening.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So that's out there. EverCon, for those, I've mentioned it in other places, but they're going to go virtual as well. It's just, the con is in January, and based on pandemic results and how things are going, probably not a good idea to try to hold it in person by January, a little too soon. So we shall see. We shall see.
D&D, before this, I was kind of hunting down some die rolls, and I saw that D&D posted on Twitter about their online events. That's the new thing, like the D&D days or something like that. And it's the November 13th to the 14th. I went to the website. Unless I'm doing something wrong and it's really early stages, there isn't a whole lot of events out there for that. I mean, that literally was Madison. I put in Madison, like no searches found, right? Nothing found. And then I think by not putting in a search, there was something in Ohio. That was it.
Interesting. Huh. Well, we'll see what happens.
I thought that was kind of interesting.
Anything else announcements wise?
No, not that I could think of.
All right.
Shall we?
Let's move on. Random encounter.
There you go. Random encounter. Emails, voicemails, comments for social media. I've got voicemail starting out with from Chris Schorb.
Sweet. Lay it on us, man.
All right.
Brett, Sean, it's Chris Schorb. How you guys doing? I wanted to call in your most recent episode about GMs and Game Master is not a player. And, I finished listening to it. I've actually listened to a couple other podcasts in between. So the one thing that stood out to me is that my goal now, like one of the things that you said is that the GM has to prep, and I used to prep a lot, and I actually still am prepping for a lot of the games that I'm running, but I love games where I don't have to prep anything, where I can just pick up and just show up and play and GM. I think that some games don't benefit from that, but I think that there are games that do where you can do that. And so that's one of my new goals for some of the games that I run. There's some games where I like to get into the creative part of world building and all that happy hoo-ha, but I do also like to just show up and play. All right, that's it, mates. Have a good one. Bye.
All right, Chris. I got a beef with your voicemail.
Uh-oh. What's the beef with the voicemail?
You can't call in and say I'm playing these games that don't require game mastering and then not say
mention
what games they are.
Yeah. So what the hell are you doing, Chris? What are you playing, man? Lay it on us.
Right.
No, I think from the preparation perspective, yeah, there are. If you have a game that requires less prep, from a game master perspective, the idea of you being a player probably feels better, seems more realistic, or more possible, because some of that workload isn't traditionally placed upon you. That's what I'm talking about. So in your traditional game where that, hey, you got to prep, you got to do, if there's somebody who can show up and quote unquote just play, as Chris is talking about, yeah, I could definitely see where that would change the tone and the feeling for the game master. So, cool. That's a good perspective, Chris. I like that.
I mean, that's one way to get around the not big on prep.
Yeah, totally.
Feeling. Yep. Just don't play games that require it.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. If you like low preparation type games, hunt those down. There's plenty of games out there that require little to none. So cool. All right,
hump them down.
Hunt
them down.
What?
Hunt them. See, Brett, now you have to see how many times you can interject a hunting term in your comments.
Okay, I'll see what I can
It's hunting season. That should be a game for Brett.
It's been hunting season for a while, but yes.
It has been.
It has
been.
been.
November is like the big one, right?
November is indeed the big one, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Wisconsin, anyway.
Yeah, well, pretty much everywhere.
Anywhere. Yeah.
Last year out west, Elk was September. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Voicemail from DM Kojo.
Brett and Sean, DM Kojo. Calling about losing in RPGs. There's no losing in RPGs. You play, you have some fun, and then even if your character dies, at least you had some fun, and there you go. You know, that's when you come up with a preconceived notion of I must do X in order to have fun. I think that is the nature of the problem. I mean, if somebody's gone through a whole campaign and had no fun whatsoever, then okay, maybe they lost, in the RPG. But then you got to figure out how can you go through a whole campaign without having some fun. Maybe a session here or there, I get it, but if you're rolling bad or something bad happens or your PC dies, you got to make a new one. But to me, at least, there is no losing as long as you're having some level of fun. And I try to, at least with my, my gaming groups, and my own kids, I try to set up front the expectation that, characters are going to die at some point. And so you shouldn't define winning and losing as, character survival. That's not necessarily the point of the game. That characters are part of a bigger story that is being woven in the campaign, and some characters die. In stories, some characters die. In movies, some characters die, and that's okay. So I've raised my kids with that mindset, and so when the character dies, there's momentary sadness, and then let's make a new one, let's continue the story, and let's keep having fun, and therefore there is no losing. That's just my take on losing in RPGs, but it was a good discussion, and look forward to your next one. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, Kojo. That was cool.
So the stipulation is, as long as you're having fun,
You're not losing.
you're not losing. So when Sean gets all pissy and moany about not having any fun,
You've lost, Sean.
I've lost the game.
Which is actually when my friends give me shit when I play poker with them. Because I am a terrible poker player. I am abysmal at poker. But I'm like, we're going to play just to have fun. I don't have a betting strategy. I just play to have fun. Like, let's see what happens if I do this. Oh, look at that.
Note to self,
went to shit.
BSers, if you want if you want to play some poker.
You want to play poker with Brett, just ask me what the buy-in is. I'll give you all $20, and you just split it up amongst yourselves and keep going. It's faster and easier for all involved because I'll just drive you batty. But I play board games that way. Look at that. I lost. Woo. It was still fun. Don't care. And I like the other piece that Kojo mentions, though, is he sets the expectation up front. Like, look, don't view character death in this game as you've lost. This isn't a losing proposition. The story will continue. That's clear. He's making it like, hey, this is how this works. This is the game I'm running. You cool with that? Off you go. But he's got a very good point, though. I mean, if you're having fun and, crap, Ragnar the Mighty died. Oh, well, whatever. Did you have fun? Yes. Cool. That can be very important. Sometimes it could seem like, a poor consolation prize when you had this big thing you wanted Ragnar the Mighty to accomplish at some point. But, if that was the expectation going in, just, I don't know. There's something cool about it. It's very flat to the point, streamlined. Like, hey, did you have fun? Was it a good ride? Yeah. Cool, man. Move on. I like that, Kojo. I like that.
I think while I can understand DM Kojo's kind of philosophy, I find it something similar to alignment in that you could piss and moan and argue around that fun and not losing at RPGs until you're blue in the face.
You can. What's fun for one person is not fun for the next. That's what you're saying, right?
Well, I think that one could say, like, hey, if my character dies, I've lost.
Yep.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think losing is this. I don't think we have to take an RPG and say it's a role-playing game. You don't win or lose. That's the cool thing about it. It's different than Monopoly and Parcheesi.
Yeah.
yes, it's different, but it's coveted, right? It's like, oh, that's the cool thing, man. You don't really win or lose. Like, you play a character
Yes.
and it might die, but it's the story and it's cool. And as long as you're having fun. And I'm like, maybe, sure. But I think I could also argue, like, no, if while I was 10 years old and my mom said, hey, she would say, right, did you win or lose? Like, did you play D&D? Did you win or lose? Because it's a game, right? You know?
Yeah, character
It's mom-
died.
That's the mom. That's the mom thing, right?
Yeah, your
Hey,
character
did you-
died. Oh, you lost. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I don't know, you lost.
Well, we talked about it on the show. It's a while back, but I think it's different perspectives, and I think the interesting thing, well, the coolest parts about this hobby is the different perspectives. And I think when Kojo's saying, "Hey, look, I'm setting expectations. That's what this is," there's really, hate to say it, almost no right or wrong answer with that. It's like, look, if this is, you groove on that and that's your thing, man, Kojo's game is right up your alley. That's perfect. Other people in life are like, oh yeah, but that's not fun for me. You're not going to have fun in that game. Kojo and I have talked about this at cons. He's talked about it here on the show. You and I have talked about it too. We can have a really good time doing X, and somebody else out there is like, yeah, I hate that game. Why? I don't know. It's just not fun for me. It almost you can get into a why, a deep discussion and introspection and so forth. And sometimes it's as simple as, I just don't like it. All right, cool. Go play something else.
Like the mind.
Well, that's just dumb. There's a line to be drawn, and that's it. Yeah.
Oh,
That's it. That's a game that would get you shot.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, that game. God, Chris and his. Ugh.
Never
Anyway,
mind. Moving on.
But at the same time, I also think there is winning. I think there's winning in RPGs. Like, hey,
Oh yeah, I mean, if you go through and you stop Tiamat from taking over the world, you stop them from summoning Orcus, you stop the Empire from blowing up planets, I think you won.
yeah,
Yeah.
right? I mean,
Good.
there's like objectives you can actually, like, as a character in the game, win.
Yeah, good did triumph over evil. And if good fails to triumph over evil and Cthulhu rises and, destroys the earth, I would say you lost. I'd say you lost that one, kids. But interesting. Cool.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, hey, DM Kojo. You know me, man. Just poke.
No, that's
you gotta
good.
poke.
No, it's good. I think the different perspectives is really important because we've said this before many times, is that there's different play styles and different games out there enough in this wonderful age of gaming where that you can find something that's for you. The right mix of winning and losing, however you want to define it, there is a game out there. And if not a game, there's a playing style of whatever your favorite game is that totally will fit for you. And it's a matter of finding the right people to play with sometimes. So, good stuff, man. All right, you read the next one. You read.
Stefan Dragonspawn.
Nice.
One of my favorites from Canada.
He's awesome.
A few ideas came to me as I listened. I can't remember what he was referencing.
I think this is cursed items. I can tell
Cursed
the context
items, yeah.
from the product here. Keep going.
When you mentioned the common -2 sword that you cannot get rid of, to me, this does sound rather boring and uninspired. When I was young and new to the hobby, I never gave it much thought, nor did I add these kinds of items in treasure hoards, as I found them more of a hassle and gave a reason for players to bitch, or rather another reason for some players. As I acquired more XP and leveled up as a gamer, I asked myself, why would a mage go to the trouble of creating a -2 sword or a backbiter spear?
That's a fair question. It costs you tens of thousands of gold pieces and time and money and perhaps a bit of your magic user soul to dump into that and a cursed weapon. Why did you do that exactly? Yeah, carry on.
A few ideas came to me as I listened. When you mentioned, I'm sorry. No. I always
there we go.
scrolled and then I lost my place.
Lost a paragraph there, buddy.
Yeah. I always preferred thinking that many such cursed items came from a failure to craft a beneficial item. Not all, but many of them may originate that way. If they are intentionally crafted, it may be by gods or otherworldly beings for reasons known only to them. No matter the way they came into being, I believe all magical items should have some history or interesting origin, even if it's only a +1 dagger. And as you mentioned, one way to make them more interesting is for the item to grant a benefit that does still make it worthwhile to own. Quote, sure, this sword is -2, but it's still a magical blade and counts when fighting incorporeal beings, werewolves, etc. Which is interesting because I don't know if it was him or somebody else that brought it up, like, hey, cursed item, -2, or you did it, Brett, on that episode, right?
Could have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
-2 item, it's still magical.
Still magic. Yep.
It's the only thing that can hit.
Yeah. Got to use it. It's a magical weapon. It doesn't say +1 or better. It just says needs magic. Whack,
Sorry.
whack, whack, whack. You're doing piss poor damage. Better than you, sir. You've got nothing. Whack, whack, whack. Yeah.
Let's see. Where did I leave off here? One idea I had while listening was to make all magical items have a curse or a drawback as part of the rule of magic. All power comes at a cost, and you can't get something for nothing. A +2 sword that makes the wielded more susceptible to insults and wants to duel anyone they think just slighted them, for example. Another thought is that a cursed item such as our infamous -2 sword in a D20 system becomes less of a true curse and more of a minor inconvenience at higher levels. Even if the fighter never gets rid of the blade, by the time he's level 10 plus, a -2 is no longer as great a penalty as when he was second level. But if the sword reduces the total to hit and damage bonus by half, then the curse is more important and impactful despite the fighter's level. So being able to scale the curse, modify it, or tailor it to the character can be a great way for it to have impact on the game and the story. In a system without levels, a -2 may still be a hindrance no matter the XP gained by the character. In an example for a narrative dice system, such as Genesis or Star Wars, an item that always upgrades the skill check to a red die can be just as devastating to a new PC as to one with over 150 earned XP. If that red die comes up with a despair symbol, then the GM has license to interject all kinds of complications into the storyline. I'm also curious about this Owlbear Rodeo VTT, as I'm always on the lookout for a simple way to game online if possible. Thank you for the shout out for this, and thank you to those who come up with it. As always, keep up the good work, stay safe and healthy.
Thank you, Stefan. I like the idea that you have in here about the, because we've talked about scaling magic items before. I cannot remember the listener brought up. Earthdawn has that built into it. I remember that piece. And if you take curses and ratchet them a bit, you can even look to Lord of the Rings. Like the One Ring seemed to get worse and worse and worse, or ratcheted up. Like the badness as the story goes on, it seems to. But yeah, I like that. And the idea of the story behind it. Why is this a -2 weapon? Why would anyone take the time to do it? Right? It's as simple as this is a curse that the warlock who made the blade bequeathed it to somebody, goes, hee, this will get him, and curses his blade, something along those lines. But that kind of backstory is cool, because that backstory then, if I provide such a backstory for a cursed item, my players are going to go, I wonder if I could undo this curse by figuring out how it got here. Like, they're going to try to unwind it, unravel that curse in some way that they could go at it. So it's a -2 now. It used to be a Holy Avenger. This used to be a sword of sharpness. This used to be a great weapon, but it was cursed. Can you unravel the curse and unlock its full potential? That's another cool piece you can do with curses. So
+5,
I like that.
Holy Avenger belonging to a paladin, a fallen paladin, and it becomes a -2 blade. And the way to remove the curse is to bestow the honor of the fallen paladin's spirit, or find the spirit, however that's defined, and you change it. Oh, it's great, Brett. Yeah, fantastic.
I like it. It's a good
Write
idea.
that shit down.
Spitting diamonds over here. Somebody write this down.
Give me a pen.
Give me a pen. All right. Thank you, Stefan. That was good.
Yeah.
All right. So Forrest emails us on a past episode. He's listening to an old episode where you talked about material components. Oh my God, that's way back. I know you guys have discussed a few times before, especially the high PETA, pain in the ass, factor of keeping track of them. Brett mentioned reading an old Dragon article as a kid that suggested spellcasters get a bonus on fire-based spells for using Red Dragon Blood as a spell component or something like that. That's what I do in my campaigns, and what my current DM does in the campaign I'm playing, a D&D 2nd edition. It's cool to be able to boost spells occasionally, and it gives our party member with the anatomy and zoology non-weapon proficiencies the ability to shine from time to time when dismembering and dissecting defeated opponents. Some cool things that have come from this. Body parts of a Hellclam, a creature that basically acts as a portal to a gate in demons to enhance summoning spells. Central gland from a floating brain creature we defeated that allows one casting of a divination spell at 2x the caster's level after eating it. That sounds vile, but I know most casters would do it. A pair of eyeballs from a particularly horrific creature that gives opponents a -4 to fear-based spell saves when the caster uses them. The DM hasn't said how these are to be used exactly, but I would think that eating the eyeballs in front of the opponent while casting the spell should do the trick. Anyway, lots of cool options to give temporary boost to spellcasters at least. If you want to allow the smorgasbord of available options to go to other classes, you can do things like drink this Demon Ichor for a plus 300 next acid save, but drop your charisma by 1 point till the effect takes place. You could think of 100 ways to leverage other sorts of things. These would work especially great in a low magic game where you don't want to just go about having strange women lying in ponds distributing swords, which is also no basis for a system of government. The monster manual is your oyster, so to speak. The best, Forrest. I love that idea, Forrest. This almost goes to the topic we had around folklore creatures and so on. This idea that if you have the skull cap from a witch who, or you've got a rope that was made from the hair of a crucified noble at dawn, this kind of how you can enhance something, sometimes one-shot magic item like that is pretty damn cool. And it could take some, from a creativity perspective, it's pretty neat. And sometimes if you give the first one, the players kill the cockatrice, they figure out they do, and you tell them, oh, your alchemist character knows if he does X, Y, or Z. The next time they kill something else, the fighter looks at that and goes, so if I eat its eyes, what would that give me? And she looks at you, look at her, and go, I don't know. See what it does. The fighter noshes down in some eyeballs, and hey, lo and behold, does nothing or gives her something. So that's kind of cool. You can take a cue from the players in that case if you don't come up with everything on the spot. But I like that. That's kind of cool. Yeah, very good. I like that. Thank you, Forrest. That was good. That's a good reminder. Because it doesn't have to be all the time, right? It doesn't have to be everything that seems fire-based gives you a magical boost. But neat. I like it. Thank you. Sean, what do you think about that? Is that good stuff?
Yeah.
That's good stuff,
Yeah,
man.
that's good stuff. It is good stuff. You want me to read this next one, or do you want to read it?
No, you got to read it. You got to read it. This is directed at you.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Some guy named Joe comments on our forums under the role of the GM. Here we go. How dare you call out one of your players unless it's Jeff on your show? I log on to listen to my favorite podcast and I'm insulted right off the bat. Disgusting. I hereby call for a boycott of the Gaming and BS podcast and will no longer play with the likes of Sean. Brett, are you looking for an online Zoom player?
You know what, Joe? I'll just tell you right now that if things really do get that bad, you're welcome on my table. I got you. I got you covered. I'll get your gaming fixed with me. Don't worry, buddy. I got you.
Nah, just fucking with you. But you get a -1 inspiration. This is Joe, the guy who forgot his dad's name
That's okay.
in my Curse of Strahd game. In my defense, I put my character together a couple months ago while we were... So this is the other side of the story, ladies and gentlemen.
No, this is fine.
Because you only hear from Sean, so here's Joe defending himself.
As well he should.
Right, of course.
I read this earlier, and I am shocked, Sean, that you failed to take this into account. Carry on.
In my defense, I put my character together a couple months ago while we were still running Mothership. Although I included quite a few details, my primary purpose was to develop a background that would fit the criteria set by the DM. Plus, I don't even recall what I did last week, so... I don't know what he's talking about. He's living in Hawaii just kicking it. Like, I don't know.
That's why he doesn't remember what he did last week.
Apparently.
Carry on.
And I could fix this. Christian is as common as Jeff, John, or Joe and Sire. Nathaniel's father disappeared in 984 YK, and the suspected location of his disappearance wasn't remotely close to where we were traveling. I'm still waiting for this. Like, okay, yeah. Nathaniel still doesn't even know where he is or how he got here. Why would he automatically assume that the Christian that was mentioned was his long dead father? If he knew that he was in a demiplane that can show up whenever,
That makes a bit of sense.
He's so stretching.
He's stretching a bit, but I mean,
is
but I like
reaching.
he is a bit, but it's a good way to take a little bit of meta, change it into why his character is like whatever. So some dude had my dad's name. 15 people in the town I grew up in had my dad's name. Come on. All right, carry on.
So the minute that it makes sense is where he says the name Christian from his home country is the same as calling people John, Joe, or Jane, or whatever.
Yeah, it's super common.
Oh, bravo, Joe. Bravo. Nathaniel will continue to refute the knowledge of a Christian. Even when he begins to suspect that his father is the person in question, he will be in a state of denial. No, that's impossible. My father's dead. What kind of game are you playing? Keep rolling out the episodes. I'll keep listening.
I like that last bit where he wants to refute the knowledge. Like, no. I get that. As a character, like, my dad's dead. Somebody looks like me or similar to me in this weird-ass place, fine. I get that. He has a name that's similar to 50 other dudes I grew up around. Fine. It doesn't mean he's my dad. And if he believes his father's dead, like dead as Dillinger, 6 feet under, yeah, I could see him sticking to his guns. Now, the interesting part will be when he flips and goes, I now have evidence, right? He gets a note. He gets something written or a piece of evidence. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about, Sean. He gets something that's irrefutable. He has to acknowledge the fact that this could well be. That's interesting. I like that.
See, now he's changing the story, though. He says, no, that's impossible. My father is dead. No, he was missing. If you're writing him off as dead, that's a different story.
Well, you and Joe got some talking to do.
Sounds like Joe needs to get his proverbial shit together is what I'm hearing.
Well, based on what Joe said earlier, he doesn't remember what he did last week, so he won't even remember writing this. You can hold him feet to the fire on the next game session. You got it. Awesome, Joe.
That's true.
That was good, Joe. Thank you, man. I appreciate you writing in.
Joe.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Joe Boo. All right. Let's get into the main topic, shall we? All right. All right, Brett.
So Tom and Chris Shore brought this up in the forums and talked about GM screens. We've hashed this over a bit ages ago, somewhere over the last 6 years. We've gone over this. But the reason I thought, this bears bringing back up is because I'm calling it the age of online gaming. It's not like this shit hasn't been going on. We've been online gaming for quite some time. Even before COVID, people were doing plenty of it and so forth. But we often talk about GM screens and their use at the table, right? Directly in front of you. Players, you roll in front of the screen, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. So, Sean, when you are GMing remotely, as a lot of us are doing more often now, are you using a GM screen at all at your table in front of you? You're holding one up. Is that to tell me that you're using one when you're running online?
I'm not. I haven't. I've had them sitting within arm's reach, specifically to kind of reach over and just open it to check on a particular condition. But it's actually faster to just tab a browser and put in whatever I'm looking for.
So for me, tabbing a browser is slower for me.
At the computer as you're sitting there?
As I'm sitting there running the game.
How do you, it depends on how you have your screen set up, I think.
Yeah, it also depends on the screen. That's kind of what I want to get into here. When I'm looking at it, so the Pathfinder, the first edition Pathfinder screen, I love that one. There's a lot of really juicy critical rulesy bits in it. Like, hey, this is actions you can take, so on and so forth. It's got a lot of good reference material for me. I really like it. So when I was running my Avalon game with my group and they wanted to use Pathfinder system, I had that on the table right next to my computer so I could just quick look over, this is, I could just reference it really fast. Super fun. I liked it. Now that I'm running an AD&D game, there's hit charts, saving throw matrices. There's cross-reference. You have an 18, they have a 2. It's I have my first edition GM screens. I have them in front of me, laying flat on the table on my computer desk. So when someone says, hey, did I hit, or what's the saving throw, I can tell them what the number is, So I have found that being able to reference certain things that I need quickly without having to search for it or remember it becomes very helpful. And I'm telling the characters what they have their own little hit matrix on their character sheet on Roll20. They write, negative to positive. They put their little numbers across the armor class chart. But I still want to know for all the monsters. And it's easier to say, it attacks as a 6-hit die creature, 6-hit die over here. Then I can just range it and go. So those screens for me
the days of cross-referencing the tables. Yeah.
It's fun. I like it. I'm having a good time with it. Yeah.
I just want to yell, battleship.
You shake my battleship. But what I'm getting at is both of those screens for me have a lot of really good info in them. The screens I did not build myself. And the other one that I'm using a screen for in person is with my kids, my Middle-earth role-playing one. That screen, it's Rollmaster, so it's Chartmaster. Plenty of charts and features and functions. Has the all the stuff you need for like tracking, observation, over here, and this skill and this thing. And then it has these little cool, slick handouts for all the critical charts I need as well, and resistance charts. So I can flip over that stuff really fast. Much faster than flipping through the book and trying to find it when I'm also using that same book to reference monster hits and so on and so forth. So I have found that online or in person, I don't really change my use of the screen. 5e, when I run 5e, I actually keep my 5e screen handy because it has the conditions in it, and I always forget what the fuck the conditions do. You're poisoned, you're paralyzed, you're down. What is it? What is it? An automatic critical if it hits you? Is it that just nothing I lock in my brain? So having that down in front of me is super handy.
I agree. The conditions are probably a big one. Like poison. What does that do?
But I do get that if you're online and it's faster for you to just tab open a browser. Like, hey, I want that tab open. It just says conditions. Look it up. There you go. I get that. That totally makes sense. Do you so you don't use a screen at all when you're running online?
I haven't because I haven't needed to. It just is I have Foundry on one screen. Mm-hmm. I have Zoom open, but I don't care. I care, but I don't have to see my players. I don't have to see them. Right?
Oh,
right. So I can just put Zoom anywhere in the background because I'm looking at everything else. I know where the camera is. Like if I'm addressing them, I could go like this, and they think I'm talking to them, and I'm looking at them. But
so you and I both have a fair amount of monitor real estate.
Yeah, I've got two. I think these are both 23 inches.
And I've got a 43-inch monitor.
Yeah.
So I have a shit ton of real estate. So I can have multiple things open like I do right now, and it doesn't make it so that my desktop is unusable.
Remind me to talk to you about a tool because you're running a Mac, right?
Yeah.
You are probably not using a Windows Snap tool, are you?
No.
Oh, dude, I will let you know of an app you should buy because I do it for the podcast. So you can set kind of like Windows, right? You have hotspots on your monitor.
Oh, yeah.
It is invaluable. So because you just like take something, drag it up to the right corner, and it snaps into a corner.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. And you need that. Like right now for the podcast, I have a Google Doc open. Right next to that, I have OBS open. And then on another monitor, I have the chat open. And then I have another recording
because you've got those little lock-in. So basically what you've done
all lock in place.
Is your monitor with that is you're able to build your own GM screen on your monitor that way. Right. So I could have a tab open over here in a browser that is, hit charts. I could have this one and this one and this one. Very cool. The reason I brought up the monitor real estate is Sean and I have plenty of monitor real estate. Not everybody does. I know a number of different people that run games on a laptop, on a 13-inch laptop. And there's a lot of shit, right, that you could have up. And if you want to see your players, because you care about them more than Sean does, or if you need you want a certain screen larger for the die roller so you can see what's going on, or chat windows and so on, that real estate in your electronic online game can get very overwhelming. Tons of windows stacked on top of each other, and I've seen people get lost. Hang on, let me find. Oh yeah, even players. Having a bunch of stuff open. Okay, do this. Oh shit, hang on. Fuck, I closed my character sheet. Let me reopen the character sheet. Let me do it. It happens. So I think that the GM screen, if it's a good one, and when I say good one, is that it has the tools, the tables, the charts, the information that you need, that are valuable for you to assist you in running the game, depending on the amount of real estate you have on your screen, or even the bandwidth, because depending where you are, what you're trying to run, if you're running audiovisual on Zoom and it's all theater to the mind, depending what you've got going, not everybody's computer or their home bandwidth, their internet connection can handle a ton of different shit all happening at once, right? So Sean, if you had a really shitty internet connection running OBS, trying to run Twitch, trying to do, could be burdensome. And if you're trying to stream games and do lots of stuff, again, it can bog down the machine, is where I'm getting. So I think that the GM screen, for me, once I started using it again in my online games, I found it very helpful. And it freed up some real estate, even though I have plenty of it, because I want to keep notes. So as things are going and I'm making up NPC names, I type in Nathaniel, Baldwin, blah, 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 whatever, bam, 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 bam. I'm writing this stuff down, a couple quick notes, so I can post stuff up. And I want to be able to have that, or if I'm quickly finding images from a image file I've sorted so I can grab them and put them places, it'd be a very my computer desktop becomes very utilitarian, just helping me run the game, throwing stuff at the characters electronically. And the books can get cluttered on my desk if I'm flipping and looking for charts, where that wonderful first edition Pathfinder screen really just saved my bacon from a lot of data right there available to me. Does that make sense?
It does, and I think yeah. So there's going to be a few things at play that you've already touched on, which is going to be how big a desk workspace do you have if you're playing remote? How much crap do you have? Like, do you reference? So you're playing old school, so you probably got some old school module stuff that's sitting on your desk.
Yeah, I have. Well, at this point, like a first edition monster manual. I actually have PDFs of the DMG and PHB, because when the character's like, "Hey, what's this?" I can share my screen and show them pages directly out of the book. Like, this is what the rule says. This is what this is. This is how this functions. So in front of me, sheet of paper, because I'm keeping track of hit points for critters. Tick 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 tick, and the monster manual and my screen for my Greyhawk game. But that's a fair amount of crap on my table, plus a keyboard and a mouse, right? Oh, and a coaster because I need a drink. So I have a decent desk, but it doesn't take much, man. And you're like packed up to here with shit. Yeah,
which is surprising because a player could, not have anything, like just a character sheet. If they just have it online, they could have nothing. They could play at a laptop and not have an issue.
Yeah, and some people, when they play, you can roll dice. You don't use electronic die rollers. They're using Zoom purely as theater of the mind. And you roll dice yourself, and that's totally fine. In that case, you need space to roll dice. It's not that big a deal. But anyway, I like the idea of that tool. I definitely need you to put that down in the die roll, if nothing else. That could be a good app to grab onto. Anything that would help organize the desktop, because if the desktop, the laptop, whatever that is becoming a DM screen for me in one way, shape, or form, that's pretty handy.
Mac users, if there's Mac users in the Gaming NBS community, and you're not using the app, I'll put it in the die roll. It's like, I can never remember. It's called Snap Tool, I think.
Okay.
And I mean, it's totally worth, I think, like $5 or something.
Slick.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I was thinking of is, okay, so you have your monitor or monitors. I've also used sticky notes to stick around the monitor, which is kind of, I mean, they don't last very long. And that's just for my own personal notes when I'm working at work. I'll put something along the bezel. But if somebody were smooth enough to get a maybe even a printer, 3D printer, and could engineer this as an extended bezel. If you had a single and do it for like a single monitor, and you could make it adjustable, because then it depends on the bezel of the monitor. Some are a little thicker than others.
Yeah.
But if you got it to be able to adjust, and you make it and you inlay it with some metal, right?
Magnets?
And then you just do these little ticky-tacky magnets.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And you put the stuff around your monitor that has some of that. Now, you could use sticky notes. Looks kind of ugly and you can't see it at a glance. So then what you do is you print off, or you lay out certain cards that will fit into this or slide into that or tack onto this bezel. And then you can make your GM screen around your monitor. Always thinking, hey,
I like
there you
it.
go. Free
There you go.
idea.
Free
Take
idea.
it, run with it.
It's $1 million
all
idea.
yours.
$1 million
No
idea.
royalties
Somebody-
needed. I don't need any royalties. It's all good.
So I like the idea. No, so having the sticky notes, right? That's, again, it's your workspace. Make it as messy or whatever it is you have, as long as it's effective for you to run your game. It's kind of like writing in your book. That's anathema to Brett, because I'm like, I have this block on writing in books. I've written in one gaming book, and I felt horribly, deliciously, naughty doing it, but I just don't do it that often. Regardless, the other thing that's interesting about the writing in your book perspective, if you're running online and you use a PDF, PDFs can be annotated if you have adventures and so forth. And if you have the real estate to do it, or if you're using a PDF version of the adventure, I have found that PDF versions of books, for whatever reason, tend to be easier for me to reference when I'm running an online game than they are when I'm running in person. That's a block in Brett's head more than anything else, I think. But calling it up there, hang on, I have that book. There it is. Call it up, do the search or whatever. So I think it'll be interesting to see what habits I've developed as game master from using this screen of mine here as my gaming table, as a GM screen, organizing it. Like, here's the videos of my players, here's the map, here's this. How that's going to inform my in-person gaming. Because there are some features I have running online that I'm like, man, this is cool. I got to figure out a way to transport this to my table. The fast reference of PDF and stuff, I'm getting faster and better with it than I have been.
I am not a big fan of PDF searching for some reason, and I think it's because, what are you using on your Mac to do it, Brett? Are you using Adobe or are you using the native app?
Using a native app works fine.
I was running Darkened Room, and I would do a search term, and if that search term is in that PDF like 10, 50 times, it is a royal freaking pain in the ass.
Okay, yeah, I could see that.
Oh, search Agent Donnelly. Click, 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 enter. 10 matches. Nope. Oh, that one. Nope, next one.
Well, to me, so that comes down to if you're using, depending on what the PDF reader you're using, you can get bookmarking capabilities, basically putting tabs in the book type of thing.
Sure.
But anyway, I think that just all of that kind of plays in this online world. My monitor is my GM screen for a lot of spaces, but I'm finding that I have a lot of electronic running the game stuff there, but there's still some rulebook referencey stuff that I don't want to have to go to the PDF and look up. The chart, right? If I have my DMG for my first edition game, I know where the chart is. Like it's page 74, 75, 76, right around there for the hit matrices and the saving throw charts. Great. I could flip there every time I fucking need it, or I could just lay the damn chart on the table. Yes, I could call up the PDF of that and have that somewhere in the background, but then that's another window. Again, I've got too many windows open on my screen type of thing, freak me out. Or I just get lost in them, maybe because I'm getting old. But anyway.
Here's the difference between turning pages and searching through a PDF and a book. A book, you could feel where it is.
Oh, yeah, I could go, I know where that is. It's about here. It's about so many inches in. It's next to the picture. Nope, it's this picture by the snake. Yep, right there.
A PDF is like, as far as I'm concerned, if I have a 300-page PDF and I'm on page 200, I might as well be on page 1,000.
Yeah.
Or page 2. Like it's like, oh, the timeline's like across the bottom. I'm like, oh, I got this much further to go. But I think you're right, Brett. I think if you bookmark stuff, But I'm telling you, virtual tabletops, despite some of the hangups some people have with them, or whether they need all the bells and whistles that they provide, or dynamic lighting, or any of that crap, if you have the actual module in front of you and you could literally click on a keyed area on the map and it comes up with what it actually, like just the dialogue and the text, that's it, man.
That's pretty cool.
Foundry is... I don't know. I think Roll20 does it to some degree in some of the pre-published stuff. I know you can do it for stuff that you want to put in there. That's work.
Mm-hmm.
But D&D Beyond, and you could port it into Foundry with a very simple plugin. It is a godsend, man. I'm telling you, I'm running Durst Manor, and it's like, there's the map. Tokens are on it. They're in a room. There's a number. I click on the number, comes up with the screen, and I like...
That's all right there.
I just read it. And to boot, to boot, you have stuff in there that's linked. So if it says a monster, the monster has a freaking hyperlink. You just click on it.
There's the monster stats. So again, for the online piece, that is... Alpha's running the Undermountain, and he bought it in Roll20, and he said it's really awesome. He's got his dynamic lighting, he's got all this cool stuff, and he's able to go, here's the room, here's this, boom, 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 here's the monster, really fast. So that's taken away the need for us to do a lot of monster manual flipping. Where's the critter, where's the thing, looking it up that way, because it's in there.
Yeah, specifically DMing, it's a little unique.
But when I'm gaming, I still run a little more off the cuff. I have an idea of what it's going to be. How many zombies are there? The zombies or skeletons? I'm going to make it up. It's zombies tonight. Boom, it's zombies. Fuck, I need to flip. There's the zombies. So I tend to have my monster manual for my AD&D game. I do have that handy so I can reference those quickly. And my charts, because I want those fast. So I'm still using those. One of the things I've started telling my players to take a step on the other side of the screen, so to say here, is on their screens, I'm like, when we're playing Roll20, you realize you can pop your character sheet out. Oh, yeah. You can have that in a separate window. You can scroll around on the map. If you click all the little buttons over on your separate window, it still rolls in the die roller. It still does everything it's supposed to do. And then they have PDF copies of rules and stuff. I'm like, open up another window. Get your PDFs ready. Look up your spells. You can do all of this ahead of time. Or if we're playing in Alpha's game, it's 5e straight. You go up to the search bar and you type in longsword. Brick. Tink. That's what it is. Take the item, drag it to your character sheet. You're done. So what I'm doing is I'm encouraging my players and my fellow players in Alpha's game is to essentially make a player's screen out of, in the same mode, right? Because we talk about in-person GM screens, how you and I have chatted about this, where it might be fun / more effective to build our own, making sure it's got all the pieces and parts on it we want when you do it in person.
Not only that, but you know where they are.
Yes.
Because you've put them down.
Yep. And I've told my players, I said, do a similar thing on your screens when we're playing virtual tabletop. You know where the book is. Build yourself a folder that says Brett's Greyhawk game. Put a few things in there that you need for that game, and it's always there. And a few people are like, oh, yeah, I know how to find. I've got my own system. Don't care, but it's faster. It stops us from, hey, could I borrow your book? At the table, that's one thing. Oh, shit, I didn't bring my Mordenkainen's Adventures. Can you pass it over? Yeah, here's the Mordenkainen's book. Hey, do you have this one? Yeah, I'll pass that over to you. Hey, where's the Street Samurai's Guide to? Here it is. If you have it online, if you have it in your PDF form, I'm like, build a little folder, put a copy of it there. That's, Sean's Shadowrun game. Click. All my stuff is in there that I need for that game. So from an organization perspective, I've found that it's helped me a lot as a game master, where all my stuff is like in a folder. I'm running Greyhawk. It's all in this folder. I don't have to be, where's my shit? That was like my prep. Get all the stuff I needed put in there. So now when I'm opening it up, I like the idea of the snap tool will make my screen more effective.
Oh, yeah.
But I think that, like, for games that have lists of charts, spell lists, and so forth, in an online environment, quite frankly, as long as the players have, if they don't have the physical book in front of them, as long as they got a PDF, they can leverage the same power of computing that you and I are as game masters, right? They can find stuff faster, look it up, whoever they want to do. A lot of the tools we're talking about are not just, online game screen for Game Master, but it's for anybody to get their stuff organized. If that snap tool would help me as a GM, I'd use the same damn thing as a player. Put my character sheet over here, put my PDF for the rule book over here, whatever I need. I like that. Does that make
I'm
sense?
surprised somebody hasn't come out with an actual desktop app that's an actual Game Master screen. Like that's what it's called. That's the function of it. It can be as easy as an HTML page. It's a website, and that's all it is it's just a single page, and everything you click on is just collapsible. So it's a single page app. You don't have to go to another page and have it reload. It's all just accordion style. And then when you do search, it's only one term on the whole entire thing or whatever. Like, I don't know. That may be tough because terms are thrown into different rulings and spells and shit like that. But I think there is and maybe there's one out there. I got to imagine that there is, but it's just, again, it's a pen and paper, man. That's the hobby, dude. Pen and paper dice. Dude, come on, man. Books. Thing.
I still like them. I still like use them. I still like that stuff though.
You know, you might as well just throw up your little phone in front of you and then just stand at a table with all your shit around you and run a game. Like, dismiss everything, right?
Yeah, you could. I could totally do that.
You could, and sometimes why not?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, you could go absolutely old school. Just like I stand up whenever in a game, crank the camera up, stand up, lay my shit out on a big table in front of me, as I would at home, at any other game in person. I could do the same damn thing.
Hello, my name is Brett. Like a teacher. Hello, my name is Brett. I will be your dungeon master today. Have a whiteboard behind you. Have the camera like 20 feet from you. You know, you're like this big.
Yelling over to everything. Yeah. My microphone's way in the other end of the fucking room. Yeah.
Oh, you got to get a lavalier, man.
Oh, there you go.
That sucker right on the old collar. You'd be good to go, man.
I mean, I have actually found that, like I said, I'm going to be very curious when I run certain games. My World of Darkness game I'm running is unique insofar as screens are just doesn't matter for that game. It's just the way I'm running it. But when I'm running a D&D game or something else where I usually have a screen as a reference, I think I'm going to be more prone to utilize it than I would before. Because previously I'd have a screen laid out. It was just like this stupid fucking prop that just sat there. I would still be flipping through my book looking for shit. I'm like, oh yeah, it's on the screen, you dumb shit.
It was my initiative card holder.
Yeah. So I think what's gonna happen is I'm probably gonna end up saying, this is my GM screen at home for running online. It looks like this. All this cool features and functions. How do I take those things and then transport it into, an in-person gaming experience? And I think this may lead to me using my laptop as a GM screen more than I ever have in the past. Previously, ages back, Sean, you and I talked about technology at the table, and the idea of my laptop being at the table in front of me, between me as a screen, and the players and stuff, it felt so stupid, like it was this bad thing. I think it was just this anachronistic view I had. But now, after doing this more online, I think there's greater potential for that, just from the organization standpoint, keeping my shit together, quick referencing, and all that stuff.
Another one that I've seen is the the CD-ROM case format. If people have taken like CD-ROM cases and taped them together, and then they can unfold them, so the profile is pretty small,
pretty narrow, yeah.
Yeah, and then because most right now, if I did that, I could have probably a 48-inch long DM screen that sits below my monitors.
True.
And I could, as long as I could read them, because it gets pretty small print. Yeah.
So as we get older and our eyes get worse, and I game master standing up, small print GM screen's not super helpful for me.
I get bifocals, man.
I have reading glasses, but there's still a certain point where, where's this, But anyway, I think it's going to be very interesting. This is the most organized, when I'm running online, is the most organized I've ever been. Like, shit on the table. Yeah.
Huh.
Not having to flip through books or say, give me a second, find. Which probably has led to a lot of I hate slowing down the game, as I've said many times. And it's probably led to a lot of my development as a game master for improv and doing different things, because I don't want to looking up an obscure rule or something that we didn't use very often. Flip is annoying. Where the fuck are the drowning rules? If I don't remember where it is, or no one can remember it, it takes you out. If you're like, hang on, there, it's on page 6, right there, flash, drowning rules. Well, shit. That's changing how some of these rules are being implemented, because I've listened. Randy Farmer brought this up to us a number of different times. And as I'm using my online gaming screen, as my GM screen, he's like, look, Brett, it's in the rules. God damn it, Brett, have you read the rules? He's being very polite, because Randy's politer than that. He's not telling me I'm an idiot, even though I feel like I'm a moron after listening to, oh, shit, you're right, it's in there. I'm like, you know what? I'll bet you, I hear Randy's voice in my head saying, I bet there's a rule for that. Look it up. Tick, there it is. It's super fast. It's wicked fast. I'm like, wow, this is pretty helpful. I should probably stop being a grognard and bring my goddamn laptop to the game more often and reference the rules. That way, because it's faster. Yes, I like to have the books open for certain things, but holy shit, is that quick? So as I said, I think this is gonna change my game. Like we talk about GM styles and stuff. I think it's gonna change how I'm utilizing certain rules more than anything else. So, Sean, so let's step away from the online component for a second. Do you normally use a GM screen in person when you run?
Yeah.
It's just out of habit, or do you actually use them?
There's like again, it keeps my initiative tracker, TP tent things along the top organized. I mean, I've even seen Cameron do that, but he's put them on the table. And that's great if you got a clear table and people can see them.
Yeah.
But I like put them up on a screen and they're like right there. Now, the only tricky thing is, it's funny how I have those in order, but nobody still doesn't realize who's after who.
Yeah.
Until you skip them.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they pay attention.
I'm like, here's the initiative order right here. Like right here in like Sharpie marker.
Yeah.
Hey, you're up next. Not going to change for this combat. Just, let you know. But so that, and it does have some good information, and it's usually comes in handy when people have a question like, oh, I'm prone, I'm going to do this, and that. And I'm like, I don't think you could do that. And then you just prone, blah, advantage on,
look, you cannot
sword
do
attacks. That. Yeah. Melee, but not, disadvantage on missile checks. So it does come in handy for certain things. And I also am I got the Tomb of Annihilation DM screen. I've got the DM screen revised. I don't have the Curse of Strahd one. And some of those come in handy for the specific campaign because it's got the random monster charts for the different environments. Yep. Yeah. And it's got probably something else in there like, even Call of Cthulhu, like Massive Nyarlathotep, man. I have the GM screen from that campaign, and it has a chunk of NPCs. So it has the NPC name, and then just like a one sentence thing of who they are.
Which is super helpful in a massive game where you need to remember that stuff.
There's a few NPCs you got to keep track of, and you're like, oh shit, who do they want to talk to?
Well,
that guy.
The other thing that online gaming has taught me for my in-person gaming is I am no longer going to say, well, I bought the GM screen, it kind of sucks, I'll just use it, but I think I'm going to build my own.
Oh, really?
The next time, one way, shape, or form, I'm either going to take my D&D one when I'm running 5e next time and start sticky noting over it or taping on it or something. But there's shit I want to know, right? My character, they're like, what's the range on that weapon? I'm gonna get the goddamn weapons. I need that. What's the penalty after range? It's some of the tactical stuff like that I get asked. I'm like, fuck, I don't know. And that's a pain in the ass to look up. I'm like, if I slapped it on there, I've been gaming with the system long enough now. I know the questions my crew is asking. I can prepare myself. Sorry.
Have you seen the Savage Worlds one that they sell, right? I think there's a couple third parties that sell them too. They're the ones that fold out that you can put inserts into.
Oh yeah, I think that's great.
Right? Yeah, you could probably even buy DM screens from RP Drive-Thru and just insert those. Now, here's something: you get that 3 or 4 panel screen. use that as a player. Wouldn't that be cool? Do a custom GM screen as a player. Now, you don't have to roll it out in front of yourself, right?
Yeah.
But imagine people put it in a binder or whatever and they flip the pages. But imagine paint, those are you could put a lot of info in there and you could put all the spells you pick and all the descriptions. You don't have to look them up. They're right there. Not the name and kind of the save. Yeah.
All the data you need plugged in right there. Well, the other cool things in person that Randy Farmer does this. He does a great job. Speaking of him, if you've seen his pictures, his GM screens are part of the scenery because he runs this wonderful minis intensive, immersive, everything in front of you is the world. It's really wicked cool. And there's a number of people that do that. And he does this cool thing where the front of this GM screen that you see is the backdrop of the city or part of the landscape, which takes a lot of extra work, right? He's probably got it down to science, but it's really cool. It's got a great effect. So the other thing that I think is interesting too is that the front side, the old school AD&D ones actually had some charts on the other side for players to reference. And a lot of times they were kind of okay-ish. But I'm thinking, if I get a screen that has drop-in stuff, I'll get my 2-hit charts, my saving charts, I'll put them on the front, as well as on the inside. So I can drop that down, and the players can say, what do I need? Whoever's close enough can read it. Or I like the idea, even if you turn it from a GM screen into a player binder almost, where you have it laying flat, you just flip it open to the necessary pages because it has all those cool reference charts to it. Basically, it's a reference manual at that point for your character.
The DCC book. I can't reach it.
Oh yeah,
but there is literally a freaking zine size compendium that somebody did that just lays out the critical charts, the fumbles, all the spells
in one place.
Yeah, all in one place, and that's it. And so it is 0-0 to it, and everything in there to play and run the game, specifically run. Which is funny because I think if you boil down even 5e, you could probably get something that's very close to that. Is it Jeremy Durham that did that, Hobbs? It's really super awesome. If you play DCC, it is a must-have, buy, print, whatever. Because even at the table, people, so Jeremy Durham, props to him for putting that out. People put them out on the table so you can just pick them up and go, oh yeah, here, look it up. Boop, there it is. Boiling down the 5e game, it's probably not wholly dissimilar if you take out what exactly you need and put it in, 3-ring binder or whatever.
Yep. Because just something is, I got a hold of some condition cards somebody made at EverCon last year. I bought a pack of condition cards because AJ was looking for something kind of cool. I said, here, use these next time you play with your friends. Oh, wow. It has the condition on it and what it does to you on the backside. You're concussed or you're unconscious or whatever it is. And then you flip it over. And, this is what the effect of you is. That's just kind of cool stuff. But I think you can turn into a reference thing. And again, I really believe this online gaming that I've been doing, I'm getting better at referencing rules, finding them faster. And I think the laptop or the tablet is going to be I'm pretty quick on the laptop for searching things compared to my tablet. I don't know if it's just because I'm the older, hands-on keyboard typey guy. But man, if I can find stuff, reference stuff faster that way, that's going to change my game. But I still think that having an in-person screen is going to be very helpful. But I'm going to make my own, I think. Next time I play in person and I want a screen because I want to make sure it's got all the stuff I need. Even if I'm modifying an existing one or buying one with the drop-ins, I think it's going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, the Jerry Roll20's got the compendium. I think that's every time I've Googled a rule for 5e, Roll20's in the first or second.
Yep, their compendium's handy.
Yeah, their compendium's really super handy. And I think I think with the speed of looking up those rules, I'm more likely to stop and look up the rule.
Yes.
It doesn't have to slow down things to a crawl. I could just look it up and make sure it kind of makes sense. And so that we can get back on the same page, because I think we've drifted over the last few years. 5-foot step.
That's how I reminded my guys that a fireball is not 30 feet. Yeah, it is. See this? Oh, fuck. 20 feet. Oh, sorry about the last 3 times I nuked you. Yes, please don't do that again. But it's game changer is cliche, but it's been a game changer for me. Being able to look things up quickly, and I think it's going to change the way the use of the GM screen at the table in person now is going, I think for me, I'm looking forward to being improved screen experience. I'm not trying to hide my dice. I don't care about that, especially now that we're rolling in the online gaming. Everything's in person. We're not hiding dice rolls from anybody because we're all using Roll20 in my groups. Now, some people roll dice privately or whatever, but we're still effectively rolling a lot of stuff in the open. And if you're using online virtual tabletop, a lot of that happens. And that's kind of changing for my group and my personal play style. Rolling in the open isn't terrifying me. It used to scare the shit out of me, and I don't know why. Just how we did it. You always roll behind the screen. So I think it's going to change a number of different things, and I think it's going to make the screen more user-friendly. The dice I can roll in front of the screen if I want to keep doing the whole in front of everybody thing, totally fine. But the referencing is going to get better. Instead of it just being a prop that I've always carried with me, it'll actually be something I use.
Yeah. I think the only thing that comes into a drawback is when you have to interpret things. Like when I was talking to people on Discord about Master Disguise.
Oh, yeah, the shape-changey Disguise Master.
Yeah, it's Disguise Self at will, and it's like, yeah, I would allow it. I'm not disallowing or allowing it. I'm asking how you interpret the rule. Like, do they get to like change themselves, and that's kind of willy-nilly? Is a lizard folk, is their tail disappear? It's not. So those things I would have to like make a.
You can make a judgment call on that, but you could find the rule faster.
Yes,
and that is super handy for that person in your gaming group, and we all have one usually who have experienced this, who stops reading just before it gets important. Oh, it says it does 88 damage. No save. Oh, hold on. Did you read the other 3 paragraphs? Oh, it says they get a save if they're left-handed on a Monday. Well, they're left-handed and it's Monday, so they get a save. Whatever.
I know that rule.
Yeah. See, that happens a lot, and sometimes. So it's helpful, and to be able to quickly find it. I honestly don't believe. I don't believe people generally try to cheat. No. on purpose. Sometimes like, well, that's what I read. It is. That's what you remember. But, hey, I'll tell you what. I'm not going to slow the game down because in half a second, I'm going to type in the spell name. It's going to give it to me. I'm going to have the data. We'll just read it. But doesn't work that way. But it does work this other way. Oh, fuck, that's cool. I'll do it that way then. So, anyway. I think again, kind of in closing for me, I found the age of this online gaming I'm doing it's changing my style when it comes to referencing and being organized. I think it's kind of cool. I like it. Yet, so Sean, before we wrap that part of it, do you have any impact from it to you, or does it change your style, do you think, or your use of the rules apart? I mean, the speed of looking it up, but do you? For me, it's palpably different to me.
Yeah, I mean, in referencing an actual physical game master chart's probably not in the cards unless it's a game that's not documented well online and is searchable online quickly. Otherwise, 5e, I mean, it's put in whatever 5e, and it's Roll20 is going to come up and it's going to hit you right on the bookmark, right on that spell or rule.
D&D Beyond isn't bad if you bought the books through it.
That's true, but I don't know. I suppose I haven't done it enough on there. Like I've done searches for here and there, and it'll come up with a long listing. So I don't know how it's contextual.
I'm not sure either. I say not bad insofar as I've not played with it as a usability tool. I know other people who do and they love it. So
yeah, I'm sure it's fine.
Cool, man. So I guess we've been at this one long enough. So Tom and Chris, if we totally missed the point here, let us know. But I thought in this this age of online gaming, right? It's not like this is going away. It's a cool thing that people are doing, where everybody's doing it more often, or a lot of people are doing it, not necessarily everybody. But I'm kind of curious as to what it has done for other folks. Do you think it's changing your style? Do you think you don't use GM screens because of it? Do you think laptops will make their way to your in-person game where maybe they didn't before? Do you see anything there, or are you also doing a bit of the anachronistic mix like I am? For my old school first edition game, I have a GM screen. Honest to God, old school in person one. First edition, first print, laying down here on the table, so that I can reference it as I go through the game. So just kind of curious how people are using them now. So cool, man. We good?
We're good, man.
Let's go to die roll.
Let's get into die roll. 2d4 miscellaneous points of gaming and geekery you want to bring to you. Brett, first one.
Yeah, so Todd Crapper has this Patreon. On Halloween, he launched a Patreon for Ironbound, Guardians Novala. It's a dark fantasy RPG of witches versus machines using the PIP system. I happen to have an affinity to the PIP system because I'm going to be turning Avalon into it. He says, it's my first ever writing partnership with someone on a game I got lucky to work with, Danielle Delisi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly, Danielle. In exchange for some advanced previews, audio discussions, bonus scenarios, and more, we're looking to create some original artwork for the setting. Got a link to his Patreon out there. Looks pretty cool. Mr. Todd Crapper, the warden, does good work. He's a great guy, friend of the show. And just all around good dude. So check that out. I think this sounds interesting, and if nothing else, it could be another way for people to look at the PIP system and how freaking cool that thing is. So
it could be Danielle Delisle.
Delisle, that could be it too.
Could be.
Oh my God.
Franche.
Yes. So Todd, if I totally wreck that, your partner's name there, please.
We have bets on Danielle's last name. D&D TV show in the works.
What? I heard about this one. I was like, I wonder. We'll see.
I don't know. There's good shows that have been out there that don't make it past like season 1, maybe the pilot. I don't know.
I don't know either. We'll see. Anyway.
Second one, Questin, browser map game, cartography game. Thanks VC for putting that out there. It's a friend of VC's. Check it out. It's a browser. You can play in the browser. And the last one, 1D20 heart-wrenching answers to I loot the body. What's in their pockets? Thanks, Larry, for posting that.
I like the heart-wrenching answers. Oh, picture of family. A tattered love letter dated years ago. Hand-drawn picture signed by a child. I love you, Daddy. Oh, you murder hobo bastard. Look what you've done. That poor town guard. Yeah.
It's a good one.
That's awesome.
What are we talking about next week, Brett?
Next week, kind of in the same vein here, I want to talk about music and sound effects at the table. We've talked about music and such before, but with online gaming, some of the cool stuff that's happening with virtual tabletops is some of the ambiance we can add in pretty easily, like built in. So I want to talk about that again, bring it back up. Sean, you got a finger raised. What are you thinking? Yeah.
Foundry.
Yes.
You can put an audio file on a spot on the map.
Oh wow, very cool. I know Roll20 has audio stuff. I've not played with it much.
Oh no, yeah. So Roll20, yeah, you hit the play button.
It plays.
You make
You got like dungeon noise in the background.
Plays to everybody.
But you could walk into a room and they clap.
Not only that, Brett, you could set the radius.
Oh, so some people hear it and some people won't?
Yes.
Oh my.
You literally can put a sound of a fireplace where the fireplace is.
And you back away far enough from it, you can't hear it.
Extend it out 10, 20 feet. Anybody that walks, their token goes into that radius, they hear the crackle of the fireplace.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, man.
All right, so I got to play with Foundry. That's what this is telling me. I got to play with Foundry.
I'm telling you. And I can hook you up.
I know you can. So let's talk about that at next show, dude. Let's dig into that stuff. Cool. All right. I like it.
All right.
Very cool.
Hey, I just want to thank everybody for joining us live. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate you taking the time.
We record here every Monday night at 8 p.m. Central Time, U.S. Brett and I, to talk about our favorite passion of role-playing games. If you see us on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe if you'd be so kind. Otherwise, you can find the audio version on your podcatcher of choice. Thank you so much. Otherwise, I am Sean.
And I'm Brett. Good night and good game and all.